here. This is my own fault. I didn't read the directions thoroughly so that I understood. Clearly, I'm no expert in putting this product down. Right here, I got it a little bit thick and it cracked when it dried. So welcome back to the Coyote Country Homestead. My name is Chris. Out here looking at the gravel pile where I've been screening, and as you can see, my gravel pile of cleaner gravel is getting bigger, and I feel like I'm making good progress on that. You can see we've got a big section carved out over here. And then the other thing that I've been looking at, man, I want to get to this project so bad I can't hardly stand it. And I just keep getting backed up with these other projects and not getting them done. But over here is where I need to be getting this line replaced for the gutter. And you know, I don't know if you can see it right here. I am gonna get this direction right. You can see right here where this is one edge of the pipe that is exposed and not very deep, and it runs down that way. And then that needs to hook back into, it comes out right about there. I'm gonna have to dig up before I can see where it is, but that's where the other pipe is, and then that runs all the way back up here to the gutter. I really want to get on that project. But I'm in the middle of this asphalt repair, and I don't want to just stop on where I am with that, because I've made really good progress. We got the asphalt repair product down, and then we got the resurfacer down, and now it's time to seal it. The problem is there are still some low spots and depressions, and I'm just not completely happy with the way it is right now. And once I put the sealer down, I kind of feel like I'm stuck. So let me turn this around. I want to show you real quick. Since I got the resurfacer down, we had an absolutely torrential downpour come through here. It was a really good test of this repair because this area here has a tendency to hold a lot of water. And when I had that area down here that had the soil exposed, it would be days that would hold water. And we had, I think, 5 inches of rain come through, and within 12 hours of it quitting, this area was dry and all the water had drained off effectively. So I was really pleased with that. There are still, before I go and put the sealer down, there's this area here that I need to get filled in and repaired. There's just a few little low spots here that I want to get those filled in a little bit more and maybe a little bit feathered out. And so and right over here, I want to get this edge done right here. I want to extend that out at least to here, and then kind of get that filled in. I'm trying to find the balance between perfection and knowing that this is never going to be the same level of professional job that a professional asphalt worker would come in and do. At some level, having it sealed and so that I can drive the cars on it and it's not going to get damaged and it's going to shed water. At some point, that's enough. And so that's what I've been balancing. What I'm going to do today is I want to use a product called Trowel Patch. And I'm just going to patch a few of these areas, try and bring them to where I'm happy with them. And then once that's done, I'll be ready to go ahead and get the sealer put down. So let me show you the trowel product we'll be working with. This is a product that's available at Home Depot, which is just where I happen to be shopping. And so I saw this Latex-ite trowel patch, and that's the product that I'm going to be using today. It trowels on, then it says use a wet trowel to finish. Looks like it's supposed to be pretty easy. I used a wire brush to get everything cleaned out and the surface prepped. And then I've made several passes with a wire broom and with the leaf blower to make sure that the area is clear of dirt and other debris. That was a major project because that torrential downpour, since that is the lowest spot, all of the dirt and debris and everything from the parking lot washes down right into that area, and anything that doesn't drain off gets left right there. So it was a lot of work to get that done. That's one of the reasons I really want to get this whole thing done today, as far as getting the trowel patch down and then also getting it sealed, so that I'll be done with it and I can move on to another part of this. Full disclosure, I've never used this product before in my life. I've also never really done any kind of masonry work that requires this nifty trowel. All of this is going to be trial by error and learning as I go. I have read the directions. I've done the prep work that I feel that they say. I'm a tad concerned about this one because they say you're supposed to do this in ½ inch, no more than ½ inch at a time. So, and this feels, I mean, we may be pushing an inch total, but I don't think so. I think we're going to be okay. If I come in and put one, you can put up to 2 ½ inch coats. If I come in with the first one and kind of skim the top of that, let that dry off, fill in these low spots, and then come in with a second finish one, I think I'll be okay. They say if you put it too deep, that you run into a risk of it cracking when it dries, and I don't want that. Other than that, the idea is to put it down and then finish with a wet trowel. So we're going to get started on it and we're going to see how this goes. The other thing I wanted to point out here is my knees are getting, as I get older, my knees hurt when I do this kind of stuff. And so for like $14, I found this product at at Home Depot. It's a Husky product, and it's a really thick pad that I can put down, that I kneel on, sit on, and it's also about twice as big as like the gardening one. So I use this thing all the time, really like it a lot. There's a little bit of watery substance on the surface, so I'm just mixing this up a little bit. Trying to put this in there just deep enough that it fills the holes, and then skim it off even with the roughest patches. And then, like I said, later on, once this has had a chance to dry, come back through and put a second layer on. I've got a high spot in here that I'm working around. Just right there is a little bit of a high spot that's kind of getting in my way. Should have put my gloves on. All right, let's see if we can add just a little bit of water to this. This part here is smoothing out pretty well. I think I'm gonna have to let the rest of it dry and come in with a second skim coat and water to really get that to finish off the way I want it, a little bit smoother. I don't want to get carried away with the water and mess the whole thing up. Let's let that one finish up. I'll come back and put a second coat on it, and then we'll see what it looks like. All right, over on this side, really from about here in is where I want to patch. There is a little bit of a low spot here. I want to fill that at that end as well and try and feather this area probably right over to there. So this is kind of the general area. All right, that's just about the boundary of what I'm looking to get done. think that's going to do for the first coat. Like I said, I plan to come in with the second coat and hopefully smooth this out. That other patch is just about dry, and I think it's going to be at a point here pretty quick where I can go ahead and get the second coat on that, and then we'll move back to this one. I'm learning a little bit about this product as I begin using it. I put down the first two patches and I'm letting that dry, waiting for it so that I can put on a second coat. And I'm going to throw the phrase out if needed, because at this point I'm not sure that I'm going to need it. This product does not dry as fast as the Rapid Set product. This has got a 24-hour setup time to be fully hard, and they recommend that between coats. That makes it really hard to, put the patch down, let it dry, and then come. We can't do it the same day, obviously. So that means I'm not going to. This is my own fault. I didn't read the directions thoroughly so that I understood the longer cure time. But what that means is I'm not going to get the asphalt sealant down today, and I'm going to have to do that another day. As I began looking at the patch, I realized there are some other areas I want to fill in as well before I get the sealer down. So now would be the good time to do that. Let me show you that. I did that off camera. This is that first patch we did, and I wanted to fill in this area next to it that was quite a bit low. And then over here, this right here is the first patch that I did. And this area next to it here was low, and then I had this area that was low right here that I wanted to fill in. Now you're going to notice that there's ridges and swirls, but that those for the most part are not here. What I'm finding out about this product, since it does have a longer cure time, and this is all water cleanup, I'm finding out what that means is I can go in after it has set up a little bit, use a little bit of water. I did water trowel all of this, but I can go in with a little bit of water in my finger and I can actually smooth and feather these edges in more the way I want. So I'm gonna have to call it there for tonight. I've got to let this product dry properly. I think I'm pretty happy with how it went down. Clearly, I'm no expert in putting this product down, and clearly I need more time and experience to work with the product to get better at it. But it's going to have to do for now. I mean, I'm stumbling through, I'm learning this as I go, I'm trying to figure it out. I think this product is going to work. I'm going to let this round dry, and then I'm going to see if I need to come in and put another round of this down, or whether we'll be able to go ahead and put the sealant down at that time. Let's find out. This is what it looks like after the first coat of the trowel patch. You can see that's smoothed out pretty nicely. We've had rain since I first put this down, and so I had to take the wire bristled broom and clean these off. But they filled in pretty nicely. I'm going to go over this with one more coat off camera just because I want to get it a little smoother. You can see right here I got it a little bit thick, and it cracked when it dried. So I'm going to have to fill that in, and that is the risk if you get this in too deep a place. The other thing that I noticed is right here, it started to pull away from the edge a little bit. I'm not too concerned about that because I assume when I put the sealer and filler down that will fill those in and that'll seal up okay. But also I'm going to put down another coat on that one where the cracks are, and that should fill that in a little bit as well. I'm going to do that off camera just because I don't want to burn a lot of camera time for that. I got to the point where I was ready to seal this, and you need 36 hours without rain. And I needed 24 hours to let the little patch here that I put down, I needed at least 24 hours for that to dry. And, I don't even think I got 24 hours of dry weather to let that dry before I had rain move in. And then I had just 2 or 3 days of on and off rain. So we've reached a point now where we're looking like the next 2 days are going to be rain free. But guess what that means? I get to broom it off again and then use the leaf blower to blow it again. So I'm going to clean the surface off, prep it for the product that we're going to use to seal it. I'll show you what that is here in a minute. And we're going to get that done. Hopefully get this project done today. Now, I want to be clear on this one. I am going to seal this patch. I need to seal my whole parking lot, but I'm probably going to experiment with a few different products. So I'm going to have this weird Frankenstein looking patchy parking lot for a while, most of the summer. And then my goal is by the end of the summer, I'll be ready to come in and put down one single product to cover the whole thing. And hopefully that'll look okay when I'm done. It may still look a little weird. I don't know. I figure it's going to look better than it did when it was falling apart. So let me get everything together. We'll get started on that, and we'll get this thing sealed up today. The most important part of this project at this point in time for me is to get this patched area sealed. I also want to surround or patch up the surrounding asphalt, but only up to a point. When I get up to this area here, I have cracks still that I want to fill in. I'm just not sure what I want to do with that yet, and I'm not ready to put the filler sealer down on that. So my intent is to come out in more or less of a rectangle, and that's what I've got the cones up for, is to sort of mark the area off where I don't want to go past. And so we're going to see how thinly or how thick, however which way you look at it, this product goes down. I'm going to try and get this done in 1 or 2 buckets. I have 4 buckets of the product. We're going to start with 1. We're going to see how far that gets us, and we'll kind of take it from there. This is the product we're going to be using today. It's a 10-year Latex-ite driveway filler sealer UltraShield. I bought this at Home Depot. I want to say these were about $25 to $30 per bucket. And again, I bought 4 buckets of that. We'll see how many of that I need to get this patch replaced. I just got this box so that I can throw my steak in it after I'm done mixing it up, because it seems like I always forget that part, and then I mix it up and I've got this steak with a bunch of goop on it and I don't know what to do with it. So I'm just going to throw it in that box. I let the product sit at least overnight upside down, but you can see here it's still pretty gloopy, pretty gloppy. Gloopy, I don't know, is that a word? Gloppy. And there's quite a bit of more watery like material on the top. So it definitely has to be stirred. And that's what we're going to do right now. That's pretty good. And so now we've got a lot more even consistency to the product. So get my steak cleaned off here as I spill some on the ground, but it's not really going to matter because it's going on the ground anyway. I'm going to start in the middle on this, and I'm going to start pulling it to the edges and filling in over here and see how far this 1 5-gallon bucket gets us. My experience from watching people put this down on YouTube is it does not go anywhere near as far as you think it's going to. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to use at least 2 here. We'll find out. So far I'm impressed. This is covering up so much more than I thought it was going to. I can't believe I got that whole thing covered in one 5-gallon bucket. But this also gives you a really good illustration on, I'm going to call this thirsty asphalt. It hasn't been treated in a long time, so it's really going to soak that product up. If you're considering doing a driveway or some other area like that, this should give you a pretty good idea. And I'll go get a tape measure right now, and I'm going to measure off the dimensions of this so that you get an idea for how much a single bucket of this 10-year Latex-ite will cover. My understanding from listening to people on YouTube is that the cheaper products are going to cover less effectively. They're thinner products, they're not quite as thick, so I don't think they're going to cover quite as well. I guess we'll actually have to test that here. You know, I'll have to go get like a 1-year, a 5-year product, whatever they have, put that down somewhere else and then compare it. So let me get a tape, let's measure this. All right, let's figure out how long this is first. I didn't really want it to rest in the product, but I can't get it to not do that. This is 14.5 feet. And that's why I didn't want it to do that. Hang on, I need to clean my tape off. All right, let's see what we got this way. That's almost 10. So, I mean, you know, if you want to estimate, we're looking at 10 by 15 feet. And you can see I didn't put that down any too thin. I squeegeed that stuff and then let it really kind of fill in all of the little cracks and crevices. And so far it looks pretty nice. We're going to let this dry and then I'll give you a shot of what that looks like. Here is the finished product. I think it looks pretty good. You can see the patch where this is where I did the asphalt repair product. And you can kind of see where the asphalt resurfacer is. I think the resurfacer, especially on the asphalt here, I think that blends in a lot nicer. And this hasn't fully dried yet either. This is only a couple of hours after the patch. This needs 36 hours to really set up. But overall, I'm real happy with the coverage. And I'm pretty happy with how this ended up. So I don't know, you tell me, is that an asphalt repair that you think you could live with? For me, for the cost, you know, it's going to cost $5,000 to bring somebody onto my property to do any kind of a repair, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't get my crew and my equipment and all of my asphalt repair stuff over to somebody's house for less than a $5,000 job either. So this repair here costs me several $100s. You know, I'm probably in the $300 range at this point. I think that's a lot less, and I think the quality of the repair looks pretty good. I don't know how it's going to hold up. We're going to have to test it and see. So we're going to let that sit, let it fully set, and hope that it turns out pretty well. I'll show you what I'll give you follow-ups in other videos. I've got a bunch of other asphalt repair projects, so I'll have a chance to give you guys some updates on this and let you see how that looks. In the meantime, that's going to be it for this one. And I'm going to call this repair job complete, which, man, that has been a long time coming, a long time in the making. So I'm glad to finally have that one done. Do me a favor, go click like, click subscribe. Subscribe won't cost you any money. We won't send you anything, but it will let you know when I've got future videos coming out. And it helps me grow the channel. So I sure would appreciate that. Otherwise, my name's Chris, and we will see you next time at the Coyote Country Homestead. It's a 10-year Latex-ite driveway filler sealer. We're going to start that over.